Finally, it feels like forever since I've done one of these videos. If you're new to the channel or haven't seen my previous episodes of this series, I ask you, the viewer, to comment suggestions of games you want to see me platinum. It doesn't matter how difficult or how long, I take all of your suggestions and I throw all of those games into a website called the Picker Wheel. That way, I don't have to decide what to play next and you all get to have your say and hope your game gets randomly picked. So far, we've platinumed Sleeping Dogs, Deathloop, Bully, Ghostwire Tokyo, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom and the Cosmic Shake, and Bioshock, which I've mostly had an absolute blast with. As always, all of these videos will be in the top right hand corner or in the description if you need to catch up. Make sure if you do want to keep seeing more videos like this in the future, be sure to leave the video a like, comment below some more platinum suggestions, subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and if you want to play along at home or see the list of games the wheel comprises of, click the links in the description below. But with all the formalities out of the way, let's spin the wheel to see what we get this time. Can I just make a quick confession? I've never been a fan of Street Fighter. I don't know what it is, but every entry I try and pick up, I just lose all interest in an hour or two. Which is really strange because as a kid I grew up with fighting games and I still love them today. I mean, I've played some obscure ass games in my day, but I just didn't grow up with Street Fighter, and so I don't have that connection with any of the characters. But Tekken, Soul Calibur, Guilty Gear, Injustice, and of course, Mortal Kombat. Yeah, those are the fighting games I will go out and pick up every single entry day one because I've grown up with them all, or at least have some form of connection with the characters. But I've only platinumed one so far in Tekken 7, so I was eager to see a Mortal Kombat game get selected this week, ready to add to my platinum collection, especially with the recent news that we're getting a new Mortal Kombat game later this year. So a bonus excuse to get back into the Mortal Kombat flow. Luckily for me, on the surface, in terms of Mortal Kombat 11's platinum requirements, it doesn't seem to be too tricky, as according to PSN profiles, the game ranks a 4 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, and should take about 60 hours to complete. That's a decent chunk of time, but hey, I'm sure it will fly by. I'm not going to bother with a here's the basics for Mortal Kombat because, I mean, come on, you all know what it is. It's the fighting game filled to the brim with blood and guts. So, with all the background context done and dusted, let's get this platinum. Oh, and just a heads up, as you can expect, I'm going to be playing it safe with this video, so don't be surprised at the censorship throughout the video. I love Mortal Kombat in all its glory, but YouTube does not. First things first, with any fighting game, you gotta check out the tutorials. One, because, well, trophies. But two, if we're going to be playing the game for 60 hours, it'd probably help to at least know the basics. For the tutorial based trophies, we need to complete the basic, advanced, and strategy tutorials, which I thought would be no problem. I was wrong. Big problem right off the bat, as these absolute chodes I call thumbs make executing combos a lot more fiddly than it needed to be. I seem to always be accidentally pressing an extra input, which for these long combos, yeah, not what you want. Now this wasn't too big a problem in the beginning, as I smashed through the basic tutorial and got through the advanced tutorial relatively quickly as well. Strategy on the other hand, holy crap, this was 2 hours of pure frustration for maneuvers and combos that, I'll be honest, I'm not good enough to use to begin with. I would always start off alright, but the longer the tutorial went, the longer the combo, the more chances I would just butcher the inputs, and I honestly thought I'd be stumped at the first hurdle. Thankfully, through some miracle, I did finally complete all the strategy tutorials, unlocking what I'd find out is the rarest trophy in this set. Since I'd almost spent 3 hours in the first session on damn tutorials with just 3 trophies to my name, I loaded into the crypt to grab some quick and easy trophies just to make me feel a bit better, unlocking one for hitting the gong in the crypt, and the other for spending 50,000 coins in the Nak Nadan shrine. I called it a day here though, and with my tail between my legs, I went to bed, hoping the worst was behind us. I know, a real positive way to start this journey. New day, new me came ready to go for the second session with the simple goal of completing the story mode, and it was just that. Simple. Taking just a couple of hours since I could skip through most of the cutscenes as I've already experienced this story, unlocking 3 trophies in the process. After this, I forgot to press record as I attempted my first classic tower, which meant I missed out on capturing our next 2 trophies for ducking 100 times in a fight and completing a classic tower. Nothing too big, but still, I like to have those trophies pop for the videos. Anyway, I should probably break down my train of thought from here because the tutorials and the story trophies, for me at least, are sort of a given to start. Learning how to play and beat the story to get some practice makes sense to do first. From here though, you can sort of attack the remaining trophies however you wish, but I started with the AI battle simulation mode because, well, honestly it sounded like a good way to make some progress and spend some time with my family at the same time. All I needed here was to play 25 simulations and that would nab me 2 trophies and I could move on. I got a bit more than that though, which takes me to the bulk of this trophy list. Fatalities. Each character has a trophy for completing their 2 finishes, and what I didn't know is the AI can get these trophies for you, which was a little disappointing. So while I was just hanging around letting the game play itself, we unlocked Johnny Cage, Scarlet, Jax, Liu Kang, Cassie Cage, Aaron Black, Sonya, and Baraka's friendship trophies. I ain't risking saying it too many times. As well as a trophy for spilling 10,000 pints of blood and performing 15 different finishes. I know, a lot of trophies to get that I had absolutely nothing to do with, which is why in hindsight I'd probably go for those trophies while playing the towers and leave the AI simulation for after. Speaking of towers, that's where we headed off to next for a couple of reasons. 1. We can't really head to the crypt without some cash. 2. We still had a lot of friendships to perform, which is easier against AI than humans. 3. I still needed some practice before I played online and dealt with all of that. And what was number 4? Oh yeah, you have to complete 250 of these goddamn things. Yeah, that's where the 60-hour playtime becomes abundantly apparent. But I will say, early days I had hope, and with plenty of trophies still to go, at least I knew variety wasn't going to be an issue. So the first thing I did was to check out the Towers of Time. These are towers with a time limit and change when the time's up, so I wanted to see if they had any group battles available for my next trophy. Lucky for me, they had one immediately, and as soon as I loaded in with 2 other people, the trophy was ours. Of course, I did stay to stick it out and see if we could conquer this challenge, and on the second try, we did just that. I actually really enjoyed this. Using abilities to help the player in battle, hoping to gain the upper hand was good fun. But once that was over, I went back to the classic towers where I would spend the majority of my time with this game. But again, in the beginning, we had a lot to do for some more trophies, and so that really helped this initial grind fly by much faster. As each tower we completed, more than likely we were also unlocking a trophy or 2 along with it by playing as all the characters. It's here we unlock the Friends with Benefits trophies for Frost, Cetrion, Devora, Jackie Briggs, Jade, Cabal, Kano, Katana, Collector, Kung Lao, Kotal Khan, Noob, Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Garrus. That was all the finishes done for each character, which along the way also earned us trophies for using 50 consumables, performed 30 different finishes, performed 25 brutalities, which since I was doing just the short 5 enemy towers and only needed 2 finishes per character, the other 2 fights I was making sure to use the simple uppercut brutalities to get this up, as we also need 100 of these eventually. And completed 10 towers with 10 different characters. Now I've blown through a lot of trophies really quick, and reading it back, it seems like no big deal. There was 6 or 7 hours of playing to complete 35 towers, and the problem is, that's the fun part. The fun part of these towers is mixing it up with new characters, seeing how everyone fights, and getting some trophies. I had fun here, but not long after, at about the 50 tower mark, I'd burnt myself out on the towers. I needed to try something else and give the towers a break, so I decided to try this Bugvora trophy for creating a Devora variation, where when she gets close to losing, a bug form will take over and you need to beat the enemy with this little bug. It sounded goofy, so I said, what the hey, plug in the second controller and let's knock this out. Apparently, one battle was enough to convince me to head back to the towers for whatever reason, which I quickly realized was a mistake, but not before using 100 consumables and calling it for the night. I didn't come back to this game for almost a week after that. I was just in my head about those 250 towers I needed to finish, so when I did finally pick the game up again, I went for something different first. Something simple. Pay 100 total respect points in King of the Hill. I went AFK so that I was never next up because there's no Australian King of the Hill lobbies, meaning every time I got to the hill, the lobby shut down. So I went AFK, meaning I couldn't get picked, paid my respects, and got out of here. Funnily enough, that got my juices going again, like my second wind, and so I went back to those towers and played for a few hours, slowly ticking that number up, grabbing a couple of trophies for flipping stance 50 times during a match, and showing mercy 10 times. All of these completed towers left me with quite a bit of coins, so again, for a break I decided to try and complete all the crypt related trophies, which, I'll be honest, this crypt is terrible. The gameplay, puzzles, world, all of that is great. The rewards are arse, not helping my already dwindling interest when I'm just getting more and more consumables rather than anything meaningful. Regardless, I spent the next hour running around, opening chests, and catching some weird looking fish to unlock 3 out of the 4 remaining crypt trophies, leaving me to question, what's this skull kebab trophy? How do I do that? Well, it's for performing 25 finishes on the same character, with the catch being they have to be performed in towers. You can't just local fight to rack these up. Each character has a tally, and with 25 you can plonk their head down and get some customization rewards. The issue here isn't actually the skull kebab trophy, because at this point I just needed a few more finishes on Baraka to get my first one. The issue is what I realized as a result of this revelation. I thought the character intros and victories would just be stuff found in the crypt, an easy customization trophy to unlock, but no. To unlock the character intros, I needed to pay for a character tower in the Towers of Time and complete the set to unlock some rewards for that character. That's 5 towers per character, which I needed to do with 5 different characters. Thankfully, that meant 25 more towers to add to my total, and this actually revitalized my interest in the towers once again because the rewards are pretty awesome. The victories, on the other hand, sorry, I got sidetracked. The victories require you to complete the Skull Kebab requirements with 5 characters, meaning 125 finishes in total on the same 5 characters. This I wasn't a big fan of. On the other hand, I could have just paid over $100 and not bothered with either. Yeah, I know, it's gross. Anyway, I decided to go for the intros first and complete the character towers. I had a lot of fun with these, and I also thought I could knock out some finishes and brutalities along the way to make the victories a little easier. I did this 5 times and unlocked the trophy. Next, I went back to the classic towers and went in and out until I saw the characters I was closest to finishing the finishes right at the beginning of the Survivor Tower. The Survivor Towers contains fights that consist of just 1 round, meaning I could smash these out much quicker, and so I just grinded away at these for a good couple of hours until I unlocked the trophies, Skull Kebab, and for equipping 5 victories. But I wasn't done with Survivor Towers just yet, as I still needed a good 30 brutalities to get to 100. Once again, grinding through until it popped. Now up to this point, we had 3 trophies left. The finish line was in sight, right? Wrong, as after 30 hours, I had about 110 towers under my belt. I literally felt the air get sucked out of me. I wasn't even halfway done. At this point, I'd simply just had enough. I'd done all of these towers legit, and so I tried some towers out with the AI. You can't just leave the AI to blast through towers though, you need to actively be aware of what's happening. Also, you can press X to continue after a fight. I wasn't going to sit here for hours and hours on end just hating the game more and more with each passing moment. So, with nothing left to prove, not a care in the world, I did the endless tower method of loading in, immediately pressing finish tower, rinse and repeat until I got to 250. Have a whinge in the comments if it makes you feel better, I don't care. I was just happy to see these done and move on to the final trophy for completing 50 casual versus matches, which I'm really glad I decided to finish on because this sort of pushed that anger away ever so briefly, and just let me test my skills on real players after all this time. Getting to 50 matches took me roughly 3 hours, and after sporting a 22 and 28 record, the trophy popped, along with my rarest platinum to date, and finally my journey with Mortal Kombat 11 came to a close. So, after 35 hours in total, 25 better than the guide thanks to my nifty maneuver, what did I think of Mortal Kombat 11's Platinum and the game in general? As a game, I really enjoyed my time with Mortal Kombat 11. I love the story, the fighting feels really polished, the game visually is stunning and so fun to be a part of, plenty of modes to keep you occupied. As a package, I love it and I'm super excited for Mortal Kombat 1 later this year. Platinum wise, I hated this. I had about 12 hours of fun and 23 hours of just frustration and boredom, and the issue is that 12 hours flies by. It's a good time, but the other 23 feel like double. I even tried to pace myself out with this one, playing for a few hours a day, trying not to burn myself out. It's a marathon, not a race. All those types of thoughts, which resulted in me taking almost a month to get the platinum. And still, I was miserable for so much of that time because it's just so tedious. It's not difficult in terms of playing. I mean, you can AI most of these trophies and not even play the game if you want. But that repetition is a mental challenge that just isn't worth it, and I enjoy most of these trophies, but that doesn't make up most of this journey. 2 trophies make up a majority of this playtime, and that's what really killed this one for me. Play the game, absolutely. The game's great. Trophy hunters, not so much. This one is just so tedious and has too many lulls in enjoyment for me to recommend you take on this journey yourself. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Make sure if you did enjoy the video to leave it a like because it helps let me know that you enjoyed yourself. Comment below some more platinum suggestions. Hopefully next time we get back to having some more fun. Shout out to the channel members, Infamous Sir Hellfire, featuring Gagiano, Christian Vilgag, Cloud Connection, Kranatoko, Crumb Sparky, Driftum, Earlium, Gregors, Milk the Cow, Pero, Stud Fox, Myth Aaron, Viper Dog, Dark Wolf, Fleet of Feet, Scott Unwin, and Adventure for that extra level of support. I truly do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, go give my socials a follow if you fancy, at MayorHairBear, and I'll catch you all in the next video.